Thanks and best wishes to everyone, and a special thanks to the residents of Ward 2 for allowing me to represent them these last 12 years, and to all the residents of Elmhurst. Thank you.
Gee, Bob, that was your best speech ever.
Save the best for last.
Yeah. Any comments for Alderman Dunn? Alderman Mulliner.
Bob, you've been a tremendous asset to the City Council, to the City of Elmhurst. You remind me a lot of my brother. You both love IIT, and I can see what you both got from it. You're very thoughtful, very careful on your decisions, very calm with your decisions, and you bring that calmness to the council. And it's really important, especially for the things that we've had to deal with over the past 12 years. So I really appreciate it, and you will be a voice that's sadly missed on the City Council.
Alderman Toledo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to make a blanket statement to all four of you tonight, and then I do have specific comments for each person. But my blanket statement is that it has been an honor to serve with each one of you on the council over the last 8 years that I've been serving, and all of you have been serving that long. Each one of you has really exemplified what I think it means to be a true service leader, dedication, commitment to what's right for our community, and selfless leadership. Thank you on behalf of the Elmhurst community. I could name numerous individual accomplishments for each one of you, but instead I'll highlight a few of your individual strengths that I found particularly impactful to the decisions that we've collectively made over the last 10 years. So Alderman Dunn, a man after my own heart when it comes to fiscal policy, reducing costs, keeping taxes low, and prudent financing decisions when needed. Thank you for your leadership as chair of our Finance Committee, the representative to the ONCC, and I believe the establishment of the CERC fee. That's you didn't list that one. That was a pretty good. So thank you very much.
You're digging deep on that one.
Others? Alderman Brennan.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Bob, I just want to know how long you sat down and thought about your jokes in your speech. I thought "didn't fly" was spectacular. Off the mark was well delivered, but I'll miss your sense of humor. And the thing that I love most about you, you simply get things done. I mean, Alderman Toledo just added to the list. I'm sure the list is much longer than what you shared, and that's just simply awesome. It's a great service to the community. For the younger people on the council, you may not know this reference, but you're like E.F. Hutton. I mean, when you speak, I actually always listen very intently because I know your thoughts, your point of view are always well thought out, well structured, and definitely add value to the discussion and debate. So thank you for that, Bob.
My wife never saw those commercials.
All right. Oh, we got some others. Alderman Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Bob, I don't know if you remember this, but the first time I met you, I was complaining. That was about my first experience doing it. I was complaining at you at a task force meeting in Growy Woods, and you were implacable, and you absorbed it like a sponge, all our complaints and everything. And then later on, when I was appointed and elected, I found that when I was around you, I understood the other side of that, and whenever you would talk, I felt like my nodding muscles would get sore because I'd agree with you so often on your take on things, and I found you to be just an excellent leader, somebody that you could look to in the ward to have the right comment at the right time, to have the right perspective, to sort of mollify when I'd want to charge in there and do this. You'd say, well, have you considered that? And you also had great timing. I drug that out a little bit because you do have great timing. I love the way you set up and deliver some of the statements you make, and they've had a good impact, and I saw that work with the council, it worked with me, it worked with our residents. I think you had the right message at the right time. So, I want to sign off with that ancient Irish toast, that Irish whiskey toast. I think it goes something like, second ward is the best, condolences to the rest. I don't know, something like that. But I really appreciate all that you've done for me and all that you've helped make it easier for me as your co-ward alderman.
Thanks, Jake.
Alderman Deuter.
Thank you, Mayor. Bob, I'm going to miss you being on the council. When I think about you and the way you approach the work, the word that comes to mind is steady. I think there are times I've talked to you and I'm upset about something and I get the exact same reaction as when I'm just sharing a piece of news. You're calm, you're steady. You are incredibly committed to the work. You do the homework for every issue, every meeting. I value your input a whole lot. And I think the way you talked about the pedestrian bridge that you'll continue to kind of see through, but the way you approach that project, I think, exemplifies the way you approach this work in general. You had an idea, you knew it was a good idea, you worked to build support, you worked to gather stakeholders, and you just kept plugging away. And it will, I'm sure, become a reality. You've lined up all the right pieces to see that one through. So you've made some significant contributions, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunity to work with you, and I'll miss you on this council.
Thanks, Marnie.
Alderman Plumsky.
Thank you, Mayor. Bob, I've always appreciated the way you gather information and ask questions before making a decision, especially when the focus is on finances. Calls from you asking about details or suggesting alternatives have challenged me to think differently, and I've always appreciated that. As a Northside resident, I'm grateful for your service on the O'Hare Noise Compatibility Commission, and you didn't elaborate enough, and I think everybody needs to know that not only did you serve as our representative from Elmhurst, it was a result of your initiative in creating a subgroup of communities along the diagonal runway and having a voting block that if you hadn't done that, we would not be where we are today. So it was your strategy, it was your ability to communicate and to bring people together to advocate for us, and I greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, Danny.
City Treasurer.
Thank you, Mayor. Bobo, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for your service to the city. As you read off your accomplishments, there's a lot to be proud of there, and I know you are proud of those things. I'm going to miss sitting next to you on Monday nights.
Thanks, Nick.
Alderman Jensen.
Thank you, Mayor. Bob, just want to say thank you for your leadership on the Finance Committee. You know, I'm obviously one of the newer aldermen, and, you know, being placed on that committee has been great because you learn about a lot of different parts of the city and how things work. And through your leadership, I think my education was a lot faster than it could have been. So thank you for that. You also showed me how to effectively run meetings, and you're very, you made sure that everyone, their voice was heard, and you solicited input from everyone a lot, which was great because, you know, when you're new on the council, you kind of don't say as much, but thanks to you, I had to get my voice out there a little sooner than I was probably planning to, so thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Anyone else? Alderman Honquist.
So Bob knows what I'm going to say because I've been saying it to him now for almost 10 years. He's the most interesting man in the world, but you got to get to know him a little bit. And he was always at some festival. He was always at some tavern. He was always somewhere doing something every time I talked to him. So I've always admired that about you, Bob. And I'm sure you'll do even more of that now, although I think the residents are going to miss you on the park board, my personal opinion. But you've done a great job here, especially with the no-fly zone. You gave so much time and effort to that. You should be commended on that alone, much less everything else you've done while you've been up here. So thanks for the service, and thanks for your friendship. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
Alderman Varamus.
Thank you, Mayor. Alderman Dunn, thank you so much for everything. It's been a pleasure serving with you and having you as being on the committee with you as the chair. And one accomplishment you forgot to mention was your beer pouring skills at the Heritage Foundation Beer Fest. You and I have poured together the last 2 years, so I hope you come back for that and are a VIP pourer with me.
Yeah, I will make sure of that. Thanks, Jennifer.
Anyone else? Well, I'll jump in and make a few. Oh,
Yeah,
Clerk
sorry.
Tamer, sorry.
I just want to say it's been a pleasure sitting next to you the past couple years and getting to know you. I've always appreciated kind of what Alderman Hill said, the steadiness of you, and when you speak, it's of great substance. And I've really learned a lot from you sitting next to you here. And good luck to you.
Thanks, Jackie.
I will make a few comments. I met Alderman Dunn when we were on the Finance Task Force together, and I was very proud that we finished, was one of the few task force reports that actually got finished at the time and on time, and Bob had a major part in that. I won't belabor the ONCC service, but you had a leadership position on there, not just informing it, but you were elected by some of your peers. They recognize it. As you pointed out, you are one of the few aldermen who served on every committee, so you know what this is all about. Personally, you've always supported me. You've been someone who I can call up, get some advice. You helped me to become mayor. You believed in me, and I certainly believe in the things you've done. I'm sorry. I know you're a man of, as Alderman Honquist says, of many interests, and I know that you felt you got everything you could out of being alderman, and you looked at other elective office, and I'm sorry Park Board didn't work out. I appreciate that you thought, take on a new challenge. So the last thing I think we serve on together is your Scotch parties. So we'll stay on that together. But I couldn't thank you more. Thank you, Alderman Dunn.
Thanks, Scott.
All right. All right. I think we'll go on to alphabetical order. Alderman Honquist.
Okay, so I had two speeches, one if my wife was here and one if she wasn't.
Is she here?
She's here, so this is going to be the
Oh, there.
shorter version, because it's a confirmation, I think, tonight, so she has other things to go to. So I just want to tell a quick story. When I went off to college, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I ended up at a small school in Austin, and I met a man there who became my professor, and he taught English. English Lit, actually. So I fell in English Lit, and everybody would ask me, well, what are you going to do with that? And I'd be like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. And I think it was fair to say I never thought I'd be an alderman. And there's a lot of other things. I was in Texas at the time, as I mentioned. I didn't ever think I'd end up in Elmhurst, Illinois either. So I've always looked and kind of looked at and respected people that had a particular drive or goal in their life and could just kind of go from one thing to another. And that just wasn't me. I just kind of go where the wind blows me. And fortunately for me, I ended up back in Chicago, and I met my wife who grew up here. And, you know, many years later, I decided to put my hat in the ring. Maybe not the best of timing with all the kids we had, as Alderman Healy said, but as I say to my kids, and I hope they learn more by watching than by listening, I think you have to do things in life that give back that aren't for money. And I've said that before, and I mean that. And I learned that a lot from my professor back in the day. He was a ball turret gunner in World War II. You know what that is? He basically sat in a little carriage, glass carriage underneath. Most ball turret gunners didn't make 10 missions, either because they were killed or it was the highest lethal rate in the war, or the plane went down, or they simply didn't have enough time to make the tours. He flew 38 tours, which was amazing. And I didn't understand that at the time. I didn't understand until after he was dead, because he never talked about it. And I think, being an alderman, someone asked me, well, what do you get for being an alderman? And until tonight, Bridgie, I got a quarter from the mayor. I would say you get what you put in, and it comes back to you. And I've learned so much being an alderman. Alderman Deuter and I were talking about tonight. Each committee has been fascinating. I went into most recently Public Works, and I thought, oh, what am I going to do here? And I've learned so much in the last 2 years. And I'd say that over the 10 years I've been here. I'm very proud of what's gone on in Elmhurst, all the development. The stormwater, when I first came on, was the overarching problem. And so I'm really proud of working with everyone that's been up here that I've been with. I'm very happy with the relationships I made. I want to thank staff. We have an excellent staff, as Alderman Dunn said, and I've learned a lot from them and a lot from everyone here, past and present. And I'm proud of the work we did, and I'm proud to step down now. It's been long enough, and I wish the future council and future aldermen all the best. So thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Honquist. We have a list for Alderman Honquist.
Not too long.
Your 3 minutes are up, Alderman Honquist.
Done.
Alderman Mulliner.
Mike, it's been a wonderful thing getting to know you. You've been another steady hand up here on the city council, a voice of reason, very thoughtful, made us think of things differently than maybe we normally would have thought of things, which has been a really good thing. And I think as a council, we need to remember that that has to happen. You can't just always do the same thing over and over again. It's good to have new ideas and to think about why we do things the way we do. And I think you've really brought that to us. And you've just been, once again, another one of those steady hands in the process of moving us forward. So thank you so much for your service.
Alderman Toledo.
Thank you. Cutting to the chase is a good phrase when I was thinking about what I would say about you, Mike. Your incisive thinking and your approach to policy decisions. I learned a lot from you on that regard, because our job is different than staff's job. Our job is to be at the high level and understand the implications of the decisions that we're making. And I could always count on calling you and getting right to the heart of the matter. Thank you very much for your leadership in all of the stormwater projects, working with the different governmental agencies, and also more recently on moving us forward on the real estate asset review. It's an important project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Brennan.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Mr. Honquist.
Here we go.
Here we go. So, first off, I love your passion for the city. You wear it on the sleeve. You're very proud of that. I just think that every time that you walk into a room to conduct business, I always know that you're looking out for the city's best interests. So that's great. You're very pragmatic. When you were going to be the vice chair of the Public Works and Building Committee, I was a little concerned because we spend a lot of money, and I knew that might be uncomfortable for you. But you always ask, super intelligent questions with respect. In some cases, should we be accelerating our spend, in certain areas to ensure that we're protecting the investments that we have in our infrastructure, et cetera. So I really valued that debate, those debates. Frequently, we were aligned, right? And I was sometimes always taken back. Well, I was sometimes taken back when I think, Mike's, he's good. You say, I disagree. I almost fall out of my chair. But every time we disagreed, I really appreciated the fact we could have a good discussion, share our point of view, express our logic behind our position. Sometimes, we find some common ground. Sometimes we agree to disagree. But we always made the choice to do it in a respectful way and just simply move on and have a beer, be friends, et cetera. And I think in our, political environment today, that's what's missing. There's no reason that we shouldn't be able to deal with conflict, have that discussion, and move on. Because at the end of the day, this council, we always get to a better place, a better decision, whether it be at the committee or here on the dais, if we share our point of view, and we always respect those points of views. So you, as an alderman, made the city of Elmhurst a better place. Thank you for that.
Alderman Jensen, then Alderman Dunn.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, usually I write out something to say, and I have a couple bullet points here, and Alderman Brown, of course, took them all because I was about to say something very similar.
You waited.
I waited too long. No, we've had a number of discussions on topics both local and beyond, right? And, we often disagreed. But, you're someone I respect, and, I know we could have a respectful conversation. You're a straight shooter, I'm a straight shooter, and I can trust when I have a conversation with you, we might end up agreeing, we might disagree, usually we do, but we come from places that we're well thought out, we're open to hearing each other's opinions, and to Alderman Brennan's point, we need more of that, not less of that. So I appreciate that I could have discussions like that with you, and I'm sure I'll call you up at some point in the future, and maybe we can have a few more. So, thank you.
Thanks.
Alderman Dunn.
All right, Mike. So you were appointed to fill Steve Morley's seat 10 years ago. I got to serve on DPZ with you when you were the chair, and I really got to learn a lot about your style then, and it fascinated me. I mean, you were a master at simplifying discussions to a couple key points, and I think that when you, especially in council, there's a lot of discussion going on. You remain quiet a lot, but when Mike pulls the microphone down to make a statement, it's going to be good. And I sit up and listen. I just can't wait to hear what you say, because it's going to be well thought through and germane. I think you draw on a lot of life experiences that you're saying that I do a lot of things you do too also. I know, Mike, from your business background, the different places you lived. So I think Alderman Honquist, you did not sidestep any topics or give what I would call an opaque discussion on an issue. We knew exactly where Mike stood on an issue, and I admire how you would speak up on it on the dais or in committee the same way that you would if we were in the hallway talking. So I respected that. I enjoyed all 10 years, and I wish you the best.
Alderman Polumsky.
Thank you, Mayor. Honquest, or HQ, as I call you. I appreciate that many of our discussions, or most, include a laugh. You're better than anyone at stepping back, defining what it is we're trying to solve, laying out the options, and making a decision. Your ability to relate contentious topics to your own or your family's experience has really served Elmhurst well and allows people to relate to you and to relate to some of the difficult decisions before us. And I think it's helped the whole council and the city in moving forward. I really appreciated your willingness with a difficult zoning case recently, and your follow-up contacting a neighbor and discussing an issue with a neighbor. That was very helpful, and it was not just for your strengths personally, but your understanding and knowledge of zoning. I appreciated that, so thank you.
Alderman Deuter.
Thank you, Mayor. Mike, we came on the council right around the same time. You were behind me just by a little bit, taking Steve's seat. So we've seen the same issues through. I think for a while we were sitting close to each other, and had a chance just to chat on multiple occasions. And it strikes me that you are so grounded, so down to earth, so much common sense. Alderman Toledo used the words cutting to the chase, but when I was writing down some of the things I wanted to say, my words were to the point. So I think that's one of the themes that we're hearing about your service is you knew where we were headed, had an idea of what needed to be addressed, and just how do we get there? And let's do it efficiently, cut to the chase. So thank you for all of your service. It's really been a pleasure to serve with you and fun to get to know you. Thanks.
Alderman Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. Timid, delicate, bad haircut. None of these things describe you to me, Mike. Well-rounded, maybe, but to your point. But I will say it's amazing the things you find out that you don't even get a chance to find out after serving with somebody for 2 years. English lit major, I did not know that. We should. I would have started a book club with you. So fellow English majors. So it strikes me as I hear all this that it's too little time I got to spend on council with you. But I did learn a lot from listening to you and your long-winded overtures that would last hours. When you discussed various topics. So I really appreciate that time spent with you, and I hope to hear more of you in the future.
Not going anywhere. Anyone else? City Treasurer.
Mike, thank you for your service. I think Alderman Brennan mentioned some guy I'd never heard of earlier that you listened when they spoke. I think that's you to a T. What you learned on the Public Works Committee was probably how to suspend the rules a lot. Maybe you didn't know you were getting into that. So I'm upset that we didn't have any of that tonight.
That was his fault.
Yeah, thank you for your service, and we'll see you.
Clerk Tamer.
Alderman Honquest, as a resident of Ward 6, I just want to say that you will truly be missed. Several years ago, I knew you, but I didn't know you, and I had to make a call to you about a very conflicted thing you're about to vote on. And I gave you my opinion, and your response to me was, Jackie, I've had several calls about this and several conversations, and all the residents feel the same, and I'm voting with the residents. And that stuck with me. And I would always say to people throughout the years, what do you think of Alderman Honquest in the neighborhood? I would say, we could sleep better at night knowing that he's representing us on council. So I just want to thank you for your service, and I've gotten to see your work from Ward 6 view. You will be missed, and I appreciate all that you've done. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. Anyone else before me? All right, well, let me say this, Alderman Honquest. You took over for Morley, a marked improvement in the 6th Ward. There's no doubt that you've been a leader on this council, and it doesn't matter whether you're a chair or whether it's your committee that has something, you have an opinion that people respect. Everyone knows that you have that may not agree with you, but you analyze a issue, and you kind of remind me of Alderman Healy. You know, you do it, you analyze it, and you're locked in. I'm always struggling with, well, you know, I see black, white, gray, you know, you get it. You have led this council on some key decisions. The asset decision that Alderman Toledo, looking into some of the issues with the fire department, and you pushed me to stay on some of those and helped strategize with me. I don't know if we really had a great start at the beginning, but I blame that on you. So, you are a presence. I mean, you are, and I've become very fond of you. I think you have a great sense of humor. We had this dinner, I think it was like last September, and we were out there having a couple drinks, and it was just such a nice night, and he said, should I run again? I go, absolutely, we need your leadership. And I come back, yeah, Honquest is on board, and a week later he goes, can I come and talk to you? I go, oh, he probably wants campaign advice. I've changed my mind. So decisive, you know. I'm going to miss you, personally and on this council. You've contributed greatly. I thank you. All right, let's...
To show no favoritism, I thought I'd go in the middle.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Because that's what staff does, right?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So can I make just one remark?
City manager.
Thank you. So on behalf of staff, I want to thank all 4 aldermen and your families for your support during your terms, because we know it takes your family to support you so you can be here on Monday nights, and we're very grateful for that. Your ideas, your guidance, and your dedication have kept Elmhurst a great community, and we consider you friends, and we will miss working with each one of you, so thank you.
We're at the halfway mark of our program, one of our longest city council meetings. Alderman Moliner, may I call on you?
Today's the day that I passed the baton. I first ran for alderman 38 years ago. My wife and I got married 38 years ago. 6 months later, I was running for alderman. I ran in the 3rd Ward. I ran with Clerk Tamer's mother, which is hard to believe. I lost. That's okay. Since that point forward, I continued to attend city council meetings on a regular basis. For the last 38 years, I've been coming to city council meetings on and off, well, mostly on. My wife isn't going to know what to do because I'll be home on Monday nights. For 6 years of that time period, I served on the Elmhurst Library Board. During that time, we had the opportunity to determine the location to put the new library and to forge the foundation for that new library. Then I was asked to run again for the city council, and at that time I decided that it was in the best interest of what was going on in the city that I run for it. That was 24 years ago. 24 years ago, this month, I was joining the city council for the first time. I had one goal in mind, and that was to represent the people of the 7th Ward and the people of the city of Elmhurst as a whole. And I hope that during those 24 years that my actions have reflected that goal, to represent them and do the best for them that I can. During those 24 years, I've served with 12 different city councils. The other day, as Alderman Rose was saying, I was trying to figure out how many aldermen I had served with. It's very difficult because some come and go, and so I really don't know. But I can tell you that I've served with 4 mayors. I've served with 2 of the 3 city managers that the city of Elmhurst has had. For those of you who don't know, we've only had 3 city managers. I've served with 3 public works directors, 3 finance directors, 4 police chiefs, and if we count the acting chief tonight, 7 fire chiefs. The acting fire chief tonight, just to tell you where we stand, was one of my gymnasts when I coached gymnastics. He's
going to take a flip, chief?
Oh, he is in here to hear it. Doesn't look like it anymore, does he? Sorry, Dick.
It's your last night, all right.
I have to say that every time that we've had a new group of aldermen, a new person could take a position as a staff member. One of the things I tried to do was listen and learn from them, because everybody had an idea, somebody had something new that they wanted to bring forward, and I thought that you need to hear what people have to say. You can't always be talking, you can't always be telling people what's the best thing. During those years, many things have changed in Elmhurst. The housing stock has been refreshing, the downtown has been refreshed. The downtown has now become a destination for the Chicagoland area. You think about that, when I became alderman, you could have rolled a bowling ball down York Road and probably missed it, not hit a thing. Now there's so many people down there, and it's a place people want to come to. That's what Elmhurst should be. Not only the downtown, but think about the other business districts, the Spring Road Business District, the Valette District, the South and North York districts. They've all become very popular destinations for people, not just in Elmhurst, but throughout the city, throughout the Chicagoland area. The industrial park, kind of the hidden gem for the city of Elmhurst, has been reinventing itself as well. Alderman Dunn mentioned the fact that we've put some things in place to try to make it so that we've made sure that it would keep doing the things we wanted it to do, which was not to become a logistics center. And I think that we've done the right things up there. Just want to say none of this was done by accident. This was done by all of the councils before you, all of this council, and it was done because we had careful planning. One of the things that's the most important thing for us to do as a council, and we've been very good at it, and this group has been wonderful at it, and that is planning. Looking forward and thinking about what this city could look like in the next 10 years and the next 15 years, not just tomorrow. Even with all those changes, there's one thing that stayed the same, and that's the community and the people. That's what Elmhurst always was. I think I'm looking around the council, and I think I'm the only one, well, Jackie, who grew up and spent their entire life in Elmhurst. And when I grew up here, it was a blue-collar community. And it's totally changed now. It's a completely different community. The people who came here at the time when my parents came out here were looking for a place that had green grass and a tree, and they had a spot of land. They had neighborhood schools, and they had neighborhood churches. And they took care of each other. It was Mayberry RFD on steroids. If there's anything I could tell the next council and the future councils is to serve the people of your ward, but also remember that every action you take is going to affect everyone in Elmhurst, not just the people in your ward. You're not going to make everybody happy. Don't try to. Explain to them the best you can and move on. You got elected for a purpose. You told people what you wanted to do. Follow through with it. Lastly, I'll make a comment, probably Scott, you, and Don, you might be the only ones who know. Charles Percy was a senator. When I first got involved in politics, I wrote Charles Percy a letter, and I said, what should I do? I want to get involved. And he sent me back a letter, and he's told me one of the most important things that I've lived with my entire life, and that is you have to do things locally. And national stuff doesn't affect you and shouldn't affect you, and you should keep the national stuff out of the area. What you should be focused on is keeping your town safe, keeping your town family-oriented and God-based. And I've tried to live that through my 24 years. For the real end, I want to thank the following people. First, all the elected officials who came before me. They made the job much easier for me. People like Susan Rose, one of the best aldermen I ever knew, just a terrific alderman, and I'm sorry I broke your record. The appointed officials, there's so many of those that just were mentors to me, that taught me so much and educated me and told me things that I needed to know that I didn't understand before. To all the staff members who supported and educated and implemented the ordinances that we put forward as city council members. You've all become friends over these years. And for all the community members, I'm so honored that you allowed me to serve you for the last 24 years. And I want to end by thanking the most important people in my life, and that is my family. I spent 38 years, that's my entire married life. My son, Jason, my daughter, Amanda, had to live through the fact that every Monday night I was gone. And they accepted it because they knew it was for the better good, for the community of Elmhurst, my Elmhurst, your Elmhurst. My son-in-law, Juan, has become a great asset. My daughter and son-in-law and my grandchildren have moved back into Elmhurst. They love the community. They want to stay here. They've made it their home. So, probably the one that's most important to me and most dear to me is my wife. I put her through a lot for the last 38 years. I love her dearly. She's had to put up with me not being home on Monday nights and other times whenever we had meetings. She had to put up with, oh, there's another storm coming. I'll see you later. Oh, there's no power at home? Sorry, honey. I'll be back later. There's a neighborhood to worry about. This house is underwater for years. She was the backbone. Barb, thank you for allowing me to serve my Elmhurst for the last 24 years. I love you.
Must be a night for best speeches of a career. Comments? Alderman Palumski.
Thank you, Mayor. Mark, your institutional knowledge and understanding of procedural rules have guided all of us, present and past, throughout your years of service. I've always enjoyed chatting with you. I want to thank you for your leadership on one of the most important regulations we've ever voted on, and that is related to holding one office. Because of your efforts, elected aldermen cannot hold two offices simultaneously. This is back at a time where one alderman could initiate and put forward a referral, and that was what Alderman Mulliner did, and it has made our community better, and it has assured the public that when they elect an alderman, that alderman is there to serve them. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Alderman Dunn.
Mark, it seemed like forever ago when I started in council. When I started in council, it seemed like you were on council forever. And then looking back to that time I started, that seems like forever ago. So you've been on council for two forevers, in my opinion. I served on DPZ with Mark, and he amazed me with his knowledge of I think he knows every parcel in town. We talk about something, and he knows what's across the street from it, the history of it, whatever baggage was associated with it. It was just amazing. Alderman Mulliner is the one person that you want to run every issue by, because he has seen everything in his tenure. I mean, I had no idea it was 38 years. I knew he's been on council for so long, but I just appreciate your service and your involvement, your commitment to the Legion and to the veterans. I thank you for that. There was nothing I talked to you about that you did not have background on. So any issue I brought up, you knew the relevant information regarding it. So you, in my opinion, you were worth your weight in gold. Just on top of it, you knew all the parliamentarian procedures, which was also amazing. So just a fantastic asset to the council, and you will be missed. And thank you for your service.
Alderman Toludo.
Thank you. Alderman Mulliner, our longest-serving alderman, who helped to mentor so many new aldermen on Robert's rules, as other people have mentioned. I can still remember when I was observing for the League of Women Voters before I decided to run for alderman, and you made a point of order or some procedural effort, and I was like, wow, you really, the aldermen who don't know how to use the rules to their benefit are not as effective on behalf of, serving as if you do. And so I really took note of that from you at an early stage. You also not only teach new aldermen about parliamentarian procedure, but also how we do things in Elmhurst, which is fitting because you grew up here and you lived your life here and you've given and dedicated so much to our community. So it's very fitting that we learn the Elmhurst way, so to speak, from you up here. Thank you for your significant contributions to the betterment of Elmhurst over the years. And I would like to particularly highlight your unwavering support for economic development in this city, which if anyone was out and about in any of our business districts over this weekend, it's obvious that that's been overwhelmingly successful. So thank you for your service.
Alderman Jensen.
Thank you, Mayor. Mark, thank you for your decades of service to the city. You know, no one can do it that long without deeply caring about our community. With that experience comes knowledge of pretty much every part of running the city. You know, whenever I heard you say point of order, I knew I was about to learn something. You know, you should probably write a book on Robert's Rules of Order. But, you know, I'll keep it short. Your dedication to Elmhurst is inspiring, and our city is better for your service, so thank you.
Clerk Tamer.
Well, 2 years ago, I finally started calling you Mark because it was always Mr. Mulliner since I met you when I was 10 years old, and you were my teacher at Bryan Middle School, and you taught me computers starting then. And then it was always Mr. Mulliner. And then a couple years ago, I'm like, can I start calling him Mark now? I don't know. So I've learned a lot from you from an early age, and anytime I had a question through years, not just here, you were always so available and with very thought-out answers. So thank you for all the lessons, the life lessons you've taught me since I was younger, too. You'll be missed.
Alderman Brennan.
Thank you to this side of the dais. So, Mark, how is it you live 4 blocks away from me? And we just met 6 years ago when I became alderman. Seems quite amazing to me that we're so close, but we're different parts of our lives. But I'm so thankful that we've gotten to know one another and have worked on this council together, serving the 7th Ward residents. You know I made you mad when I switched cars. If anybody that knows Mark, you see him around town. He's in his red, convertible. I got a new car. I didn't tell him. And, all of a sudden, Mark's passing. He's not waving at me anymore. So you're one of the most friendly people I know. And I always, loved, hey, Mark, how you doing? Especially when the weather's bad. He would be the only other lunatic that would be out on the roads, seeing if, some of the regular places where we're having issues, if our projects had worked or not. But I really respect that. It definitely shows how much you care for the community. Some of the things that I have written down have already been spoken about, but you are a true historian, for the city of Elmhurst. And, I've seen 2 mayors turn to you and ask for guidance and perspective on the history of this town. Robert's Rules. I just had coffee with one of the new aldermen this morning. It's like I'm super nervous about, how to conduct myself. Robert's Rules. I said, talk to Mark Mulliner. He'll set you straight and give you some good tips. When I think about you, Mark, I do think about veterans. I think about, patriotism and how close that is to your heart. Your support of business, local business, and just how much you care there. There was never a doubt in the 6 years that I've known you in this role. You've always looked out for the best interests of the city. And lastly, I know where I'll find you. Anytime Mark and I met, it was, a fresh start, normally sometime after 7:30. He's there well ahead of me, holding court with, all the people, all the regulars there. So, Mark, I'll see you at Fresh Start and maybe pick up some screws at Ace Hardware on the way home. Thank you so much for your service.
Anyone else on this side? Alderman Honquist and then Alderman Deuter.
So when I came on, you were 14 years in?
Something like that.
Something like that. So, one of the original people to look up to and to learn from, and then we spent a lot of time together on DPZ, so we got to know each other, and I've always appreciated you, and I've always appreciated, to what has been said already tonight, your knowledge on things. I wouldn't necessarily have to go look through the books, as they say, or ask other people what went on. I'd usually just ask you, and then you tell me the whole story. So the fact that you do it's one thing. The fact you can remember so much is what's amazing to me. So you've been a true asset to Elmhurst. I think the city's going to miss because you don't replace that. And so thank you for your service and your friendship over the years, and for all you taught me along the way. Thanks.
Alderman Deuter?
Thank you, Mayor. 24 years is an incredible amount of time, and the experience that you have gathered during that time. I mean, I'm mindful of, we've heard the words historian, parliamentarian, I'll add institutional knowledge, and for a person who thrives on information, I'm mindful of how much we're missing tonight with your departure from this council. So thank you for all of your contributions, and thank you for being the person so many of us have looked to get the history, get the parliamentarian procedure, and for all the institutional knowledge.
Alderman Hill?
Thank you, Mayor. Mark, sincerely, I really appreciate, speaking as a veteran, all the support you have given veterans and the way you help me understand how the Veteran Commission and the city and the Legion and all the other agencies in town work together to support the veterans. And I've really appreciated seeing you at the places I went, and I know where I can find you. It's not Fresh Start for me, it's at the Legion. So I will be carrying the torch for you as the gearhead on council, and it's been a pleasure working with you. Thank you.
Anyone else? City Treasurer?
I think about what you said there on the service, and that seems to be an underlying principle for, I think, this whole group, is we're just a group that wants to serve the community, and I think you're a role model, an example, an exemplary person that showed the whole community what service really means. So thank you for your service, and thought it was only fitting that we had all this beautiful weather, and then today it just took a sad turn as the weather was celebrating Mark's last day, but thank you for your service.
Anyone else? Is that Cahill?
Mark, Jennifer and I were the two aldermen that got appointed during COVID, which is not a time to join any type of council. But you were the first alderman to come out to me, and not only just come up and introduce yourself, you came with a vision. And that was so important to me, to have a vision for what the city's been and going and should go. And I really, really looked up to that vision. And they say, people, you have big shoes to fill. No one's going to be able to fill your shoes. Your 24 years in this council have done so many different things. It's going to be tough for anyone to replace you, and I will miss you.
All right. Anyone else? Alderman Ramus.
Thank you. So Alderman Cahill, I'll echo what he said, because I had written that myself, that when we got on, when I was appointed, you were one of the first aldermen to call me, and we quickly became friends. And I knew I could call you for advice anytime, and I've truly valued our friendship. Thank you for everything you've done for the community. We share so much in our love for the veterans and wanting to help the Legion and learn more about the commission. And you knew that was so close to my heart, and you just took me under your wing and introduced me to people at the Legion, and really, helped me be part of that and make a difference in that part of our community. So I am so grateful for our friendship and your service to Elmhurst.
Well, I think I'll jump in. When you go last, I have all the bullet points of institutional knowledge, zoning, planning, economic development, veterans, parliamentary. So what's new? I didn't know that you weren't on the original city council. I didn't realize you'd come in only after 24 years, so I did learn something new tonight. I will say this. I've realized over time that I would call you a patriot of Elmhurst. You have given of yourself, not only through the city council and through the Legion, but through the school district, through the library, and just being someone who looks out for the good of the city. And I know you love the city. We've been opponents, and even when we were friends, and we are friends. I'm going to miss you. As everyone knows that you are a leader on the council too. Your words of wisdom are weighed heavily when they are spoken. And I hope you get some counseling when you go through withdrawal from not being on the council anymore. But I too will see you on the south side of town at that place where we meet. So thank you very much, Alderman Mulliner. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. Oh, I'm sorry, Alderman Palomsky. Would you like to speak, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. In 1909, Daniel Burnham created the Plan of Chicago and launched the City Beautiful movement, presenting a comprehensive long-term vision for development, including a vision that relied upon ethical leadership of public servants with an unwavering commitment to transparency and accountability. His legacy inspires our own planning and governance today. The true value of public service is realized at the local level, where policies are translated into tangible benefit and where empowerment of constituents fosters and informs decision makers. It has been an honor to participate alongside our residents who are the primary contributors to the North York Plan, the Sustainability Action Plan, the Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan, and the city's sub-area plans. 45,000 people are represented by the City Council. Even with the shared commitment to serving in a manner that benefits the greatest number of people to the fullest and within defined spending limits, we may hold 14 different opinions. For this reason, committee work driven by collaboration and compromise so that those viewpoints can be shaped and distilled into one is crucial to any decision. Through committee work is where I learned the most throughout my 12 years. For residents wondering why there isn't more debate at council meetings, it's because the depth of our deliberation is reserved for committees. I encourage all residents interested in city affairs to attend at least one, held on the second and fourth Mondays of the month, all open to the public, and all including the opportunity for public comment. Agendas and a complete library of supporting documents are posted online, and there is no need to sign in or speak. I also encourage anyone with questions regarding the city or council decisions to contact your alderman or city staff. That's especially important as we have seen an explosion of community-based online comment forums that can skew a story or sometimes create a new fictional one. When a decision does not seem to make sense, consider the likelihood that contributing factors were not apparent in what is captured online. And consider coming to a committee meeting, share your input, and stay for the detailed discussion. We're better equipped with your contribution. I want to express, I'm going to scroll up, my sincere appreciation for the dedicated staff delivering city services. Their unwavering efforts have made a positive impact for all of us. This includes Chris Kransberger, Michael Brum, Amanda Malone and Breanne White, Heather Barekis, Cassandra Schreff, Jana Krausfeld, Christina Coyle, Larry Kravitz, Dick Dufort, Tim Lazowski, and Lauren Wolf, Eileen Franz, Jessica Gall, Emily Wagner, Mike McLean, Brett Kozrowski, Stan Balicki, Corey Tiberi, Kent Johnson, Mark Stevens, Kim McGrew, and Paul Burris, Dave Olberg, and Dan Lund. I didn't list everybody, but most of the city staff that I've interacted with to the greatest extent. And a special thank you to City Manager Jim Grabowski for running our city while juggling inquiries from us 14 dingbats, and to Assistant City Manager Mike Kopp for support in all areas, not just development, but across city operations. I will never forget my first meeting as an elected official was with Mike Kopp, and it was a tour of the fire station, and I felt so relieved that my questions were welcomed, and it just seemed a lot more relaxed than maybe what I had in mind, so I always appreciated that. I certainly haven't named everyone. And I just want to be sure that I'm extending my appreciation to both our frontline staff and back of house staff. And where would we be without this council? Marty, I don't know where I would be without you or your thoughtful, thorough insight. I'm grateful for how you've been my go-to person to discuss in depth the what-ifs. Like, what if we modified this standard, or this figure, or this timeline? And let's be honest, if you ever called Bob feeling upset, it's because I riled you up. You mentioned that you thrive on information. That's fair, but I also like to think of it more like you get lost in the weeds with me because I pull you down there. Thank you for your efforts in launching the Public Arts Commission. It will continue to fortify development with artistic landmarks and emphasize an essential component of our planning. I'm going by ward, unless I've chatted about you. Jennifer, I admire your balance of grit and sensitivity. Your prowess in listening and gathering information make you an excellent public servant, as does your kindness. I look forward to seeing how your vision for a flexible streetscape is cultivated and articulated into our planning. Jake, I appreciate your ability to view potential decisions from a unique perspective. I leave this council comforted that your commitment to a greener Elmhurst is unwavering, and I look forward to seeing your creativity shape the next steps in the expanding Sustainability Action Plan. Chris, I want to thank you for your partnership in serving the Third Ward residents from day one. From code enforcement to traffic issues, it has been a pleasure to serve with you. Once I'm no longer in this role, I will rest assured knowing that you are my representative and that you will continue to focus on the priorities identified by many Third Ward residents, such as traffic and pedestrian safety. I also appreciate your discernment and expertise in all things finance and data. Noelle, I value your depth of knowledge and principled decision-making in tackling the most complicated questions, especially related to zoning and finance. I will miss talking through agenda items with you and hearing your perspective, but of course, I look forward to catching up on the pool deck this summer. One of the things that most impressed me was the way in which you advanced the possibility for hoop houses in a manner that reflected the wants of those interested in constructing one, yet refining the design in a way addressing the concerns of those opposed. Brian, I appreciate your succinct, no-nonsense approach to decision-making. I appreciate your ideas for Elmhurst and have confidence that if we see the addition of a lovely boutique hotel, it will be a result of your efforts. Jim, you have brought to the council a practical approach and a variety of experiences to draw upon in your work. I especially appreciated your questions about real-life interactions between bikers, walkers, and motorists, and how that intersected with our bike and pedestrian plan. Tina, I most admire your creativity and positive outlook in navigating new ideas and solutions. I have no doubt that your contributions to outdoor dining discussions, including your research and committee engagement, have helped establish the foundation for the next steps in our updated downtown plan. Mike Brennan, I gotta scroll up here. You possess a rare balance of ever-present empathy and business sense. I admire your ability to understand others' perspectives as your own. A special thank you for your leadership on the recent sidewalk funding decision and facilitating unanimous committee report on this delicate topic. And now the other elected officials up here. Dan, I appreciate your effort and contributions, and I'm assured that our finances are in good hands. My girl Jackie, you do an excellent job as our clerk, and you really shine as chair of the Commission on Youth. Thank you for bringing out the best in Elmhurst kids and for your hands-on organization of events and activities, all of which is carried out so smoothly, no one would ever know you spend countless hours on it. At some point when I was serving on the Youth Commission, it became appropriate for us to chat at all hours, so I look forward to our continued testing and critiquing and reporting on every new item we buy at Trader Joe's from here on out. Scott, or as I like to say, Mr. Levine, I will never grow tired of your perfectly ridiculous dry sense of humor. I always appreciated your attention to detail. Like way back when we concluded that an anti-monotony ordinance for new home construction was warranted. You steadily transitioned the council in serving as mayor on an interim basis, and you continue to demonstrate your commitment to listening to residents and keeping an open mind. I appreciate and value your leadership. Back before I called everyone here colleagues, I first became involved in our community with the encouragement of Jan Vanek, Susan Rose, and Jan Dorner, 3 women whose service I greatly admire. And of course, I wouldn't be here without the love and support of my family and friends, especially my husband, Doug, who's sitting right there, and who, you know, is used to me taking off every Monday, maybe talking about planning our vacation to leave on a Tuesday. You know, our daughter Jane is younger than my tenure here, and when she was 9 days old, handed her over, gotta go, 3-hour meeting, I'll see you later. So I appreciate it. I wouldn't be here without my family. It is with gratitude that I express my deepest appreciation for the residents of the 3rd Ward and the City of Elmhurst for the honor of representing you. I offer my best wishes for the new council and look forward to what's in store. As Burnham said, make no little plans. They have no magic to stir men's blood. Thank you.
Compendium of fine speeches will be published after tonight. Comments? Alderman Deuter.
Thank you, Mayor. I may have the most to say about Alderman Polumsky because she's certainly the person I talk to the most on this council. So for that reason, Danny, I will miss you terribly. You're my go-to really since I came on the council. You've always been available to answer a call, to help give me the information I'm missing, tell me how things have been done in the past. Your support and serving as a sounding board has been invaluable to me. I value so much the incredible diligence and the care that you put into your decisions and the fact-finding and just the way you approach all the issues that come before you. You have unquestionably put in a tremendous amount of effort, always for the right reasons. It's never been about you personally. It's always been about Elmhurst. I appreciate that a lot. You have been a champion of sustainability and accessibility. Those are 2 issues you care a lot about and know a lot about. You were certainly the driving force behind the city's sustainability action plan. And I think that's it. I really will miss you so much, and know that you'll still be there. I'll still call you, I'm sure, with a lot of frequency. So I value our friendship and really appreciate the chance to have gotten to know you through this.
Alderman Mulliner.
And Danny, it's been great to get to know you and see how much you love Elmhurst and how much work you've done on trying to make things simpler for people to understand and access. What you've tried to do and have done with board docs and things on that order have just been tremendous to help people have better access to information. And I think that's so important in an environment like this. You've always been so detailed, and it's just been just a wonderful thing, and it's been great the last couple of years working with you on zoning. It's just been a tremendous time. Thank you.
Alderman Toledo.
Thank you. We've gone through quite a bit of our journey on the council together. I always have valued your mentorship and your collaboration with me and others on so many of the issues that we've faced. One funny memory that I couldn't help but share was on some complicated zoning case, most of them are. I remember meeting with you at your house, and the entire table was filled with piles of manila folders and stacks of paper printed out, and you're like, I have to read it on paper. It's just too much. I want to read every single thing. And I just wonder what Doug's going to do with all the new space in the house. But I think that it goes to show to what other people have said about your commitment to Elmhurst, your attention to detail, making sure that you understood everything about a particular issue before making a decision on behalf of the community. So thank you, Danny, for your leadership on the council, on the DP&Z committee, and for your focus, as Mark said, on enhancing transparency for us and for the community as well. Thank you.
Alderman Dunn, then Alderman Jensen. And then over here in a little while.
Danny, so I served with Danny all 12 years. So we were sworn in the same day. I'm actually been an alderman 3 minutes longer than her. Sworn in first. So we're somewhat of I consider us kindred council spirits. Danny became an expert on zoning policy. And even when she wasn't on the zoning committee, she still had a wealth of knowledge there. I thought she might have been moonlighting, trying to get a degree in that somehow, but I don't think she had time for that, raising her family. I think, just to give you a visual, when I think of Danny, I think like when you were in school and you went to go turn in the report to the teacher, and you're really proud of that, and you think that's going to be great, and then Danny puts his totally just quench your mojo. Danny was very thorough with everything to a fault, and I think sometimes some aldermen might have been a little impatient with her, but it was to the benefit of the council and any issue that we were on. I called her up a lot on various issues, even when they weren't in her committee, because she was very well researched and just a good person to talk to about the many, many topics that we went through. So, no matter how much information you thought you had on a topic, you couldn't outduel Danny on a particular, on any topic. So it was fun serving with you. Great 12 years, and we'll see you around town.
Alderman Jensen.
Thank you, Mayor. Danny, thank you for being a mentor and a great partner representing the 3rd Ward. We worked well together for our residents, both in ways that are seen in policy changes and in ways unseen, such as helping individuals when they need assistance from the city and reach out to one or both of us. Some things you mostly handled, some I did, but we did a great job and a very important job of keeping each other informed on everything that came up. You also helped me get up to speed much more quickly than I could have on my own, and your guidance and wealth of very detailed knowledge on everything on council will be missed. Now, I won't say I miss your mentorship, because I definitely plan on calling you for advice in the future. And, in the last 2 years, the 3rd Ward has had 2 aldermen go down to hockey injuries, resulting in surgery and casts and various things up here. But hopefully that trend stops here, and there's no more hockey injuries in the 3rd Ward or on council.
No. Are you retired?
Hopefully not, but I haven't skated since. But we will definitely miss your leadership, and on the behalf of the residents of the 3rd Ward, I thank you for your service. Thank you.
Alderman Brennan and Alderman Hill.
Thank you. So Danny, the first time I met you, Doug, don't take this the wrong way, I fell in love with you. You were the first female alderman I knew that played hockey. I loved hockey. And then I thought to myself, that's so cool. And I also thought to myself, what is Danny, 5'3", 5'4", maybe? She loves being on those skates. It makes her feel taller, right? But when I think of you, you may be small, but you're very mighty. The impact that you've had in this council is profound. I look at some of the agenda items that came before your committee. They were big, they were complex, and quite frankly, it's just so obvious that you care. You care about the product that comes from you yourself, but from your committee, from this council. You have a big heart and it's just so obvious to me, just watching you conduct yourself as an alderman. That was so cool to see. I also believe, in what I witnessed, is that you have such strong, good qualities, in this role as alderman. But also, I know those same qualities exist outside of here. And so I really value that, and thank you for bringing your big personality to the council and sharing it with the city. Thank you.
Alderman Hill and Alderman Park.
Thank you. I'm going to miss the way you think and talk about the way you think, because when maybe it's because you've been in academia for a while, but when I call you and I feel like we start talking about something, you have this radical empathy that helps you quickly jump from one side of the discussion to the other and then flip around to this idea, and that feels so familiar to me. I love it. It must be talking with faculty all day, but to be so agile and go back and forth and take this position and, oh, maybe it could be this. And at the end of the conversation, I feel totally mollified. I don't even feel like I have to complain about anything anymore, right? I forget I've talked it all out with you. So I'm really going to miss that. I love the way in which you gave me lots of advice that proved fruitful, but I was able to build on that and come back to you with more questions. You were so patient with me, and we had lots of calls. So, I know you have Monday nights free, so maybe I could keep calling on Monday. Oh wait, I'm busy, but I will find time to call you on other things because I always want to know more about sustainability. So, thank you very much.
Alderman Park.
Danny, thank you does not say enough. You welcomed me wholeheartedly coming on this council and have made these last 6 years be just an incredible experience. I have learned so much from you and the way that you do this job and the care that you put into it and the time that you put into it and the effort and the energy. You've given me something to strive for, and you just, an immense amount about the city and how we do things or how we should do things. And I just thank you for all of that. And I feel honored to have worked with you and very, very, very glad to be your friend and to have you as my friend. And I know that we'll continue our walk and talks, and we'll just have to find something else to talk about. So, thank you, my dear.
Alderman Udera.
I would just like to take this time and thank Alderman Mulliner, Alderman Plumsky, Alderman Dunn, and Alderman Honquist for your combined 58 years of service. It might be more than what we have on the other end, but I really appreciate all that you've done for the city, and I know that the residents of your wards are really going to miss you. So thank you very much.
City Treasurer, and then Alderman Honquist.
Danny, it's always been really admirable watching you operate. We've had some pretty heavy topics come through your committee in the past 2 years since I've been on council, and thinking back to I think the only minority report I saw, and that was a pretty insane amount of effort. It was very, very clear. And then one thing that always sticks with me, and it was a random, I think, one-off comment that you made during parking or something, and you said, well, no one's happy, so this is the ultimate compromise. And I have used that in my life like several times since you were here. So thank you for that. Thank you for that comment. Thank you for your service for these years.
Alderman Honquist.
So, Danny. For every topic that I got a compliment on how I could condense things, I could never condense any conversation with Danny. She was going to tell me how it was going. She was going to tell me exactly what she thought. If I tried to interrupt, she'd say, well, wait, I'm not done yet. And I would sit on the other end of the phone or across from her and listen. And she'd tell me. And I think I've talked to you more than any other alderman in my time here. On all the different subjects we've had over the years. And it's been a joy, and I will miss you terribly. Maybe not the talking to as much, but the fun parts of the talking. There's always a lot of jokes, and And the Mother Puckers is probably the best story in the stories that you're ever going to get from anybody. So I will miss you, and thanks. And you obviously did a wonderful job. You don't need me to tell you that, but it was a joy working with you.
I thought Alderman Molnar was going to rule that comment out of order, but all right. City Clerk.
Danny, I am going to miss you, but I'm glad that I've gained such a dear, close friend that I love talking to almost daily about our Trader Joe recipes and just day-to-day stuff. So I am so grateful for the opportunity that I first met you when you served on the Youth Commission, and I learned about the dedication you had, not just to the kids in Elmhurst, but to Elmhurst. And echo what everyone's saying, just your detail-oriented visions and well-thought-out transparency that I just have always admired about you, and your honesty and your integrity. So I appreciate our friendship, and I look forward to many more talks ahead. So thank you, and good luck to you.
Alderman Varamis.
Thank you. So I have something to say to you, but it also, I want to include Alderman Molnar, Dunn, and Honquest. Working side by side and learning from all of you has been an honor. I'm lucky to have had you as mentors, and even luckier to call you my friends. We have laughed together and complained together. We have stressed together and celebrated together. And speaking as a resident, I am so thankful for your dedication and vision for helping lead the city through all its ups and downs, especially during the pandemic. As your colleague and friend, I am sad to see this chapter end, but excited to see what's in your future. Great leaders always make a difference, and you made a vast difference here. Your leadership and presence will be missed, and with a grateful heart, I say thank you for always putting the best interest of Elmhurst first. It has been a true privilege to serve and learn from all of you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Alderman Polomsky. I'm not going to repeat what other people said, but I've got to mention a couple things. You have been a tireless leader on this council, and I was afraid you might have a heart attack a few times because you care so much. Yeah, I know you did too. And you have tackled as chair of DPZ some very controversial, and not only controversial, but difficult decisions. And I always respect the fact that not only do you research it so there's no stone unturned, but you always reach for compromise. I know how much it's meant to you to get consensus on the committee, find the compromise that makes a policy go forward, and you've done an excellent job at that. You've taken a lot of heat for some of the things that you've had to take on, force someone into breaking a tie vote. I don't hold any of that personally, it wasn't you. But above all, I consider you to be a very valued advisor. We've spent a lot of time talking, running for mayor, being mayor. Your opinion is one I respect greatly. I tried very, very hard, I know, to talk you into staying on, but I respect your decision to move on. You will continue to be my advisor. You will continue to be my dear friend, and I thank you for your time on this council. All right, anyone want to talk about anyone else before we? All right. Let me say, it's been a long night, and and staff, thank you for staying for this little love fest here. But these are 4 aldermen who truly deserve our thanks. They deserve to be honored, and this is a very special night to do it. I want to mention that they will be, if they've been off their rockers, they can soon get on their rockers. So we have the traditional retirement rockers back there. I think they have to be tuned up a little bit with name plates, and yeah, so we will be happy to deliver those to you when they're ready. With all that being said, I'm not going to ask for any other business, but Alderman Molnar, do you have a motion?
I move to adjourn.
Well stated. Second? Alderman Dunn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned.